Hi guys, so we're back. It's the second match. Hopefully my camera is set up a little bit better this time. So it's the second battle for Kalvarija. So the Russians have set up. I didn't take you through the force composition in the last match, but I'll just quickly run through it in this one. So the Russians got an HMG there. They've got some riflemen in that squad, in that building, sorry. They've got a lieutenant down there. They've got another rifle squad in that building with a commissar. They've got a unit of militia in that building, NKVD in the Farwood, and they've got a light armoured car there. So they're trying to hold off the second wave of German attacks. Basically, we've decided it's still like mid-afternoon. So the first German raid was a bit of a dawn raid, and yeah. So this is the afternoon attack for the day. Tried to keep the map very similar to what it was. There might be one or two buildings that are out of place, but basically the same spot. If you're wondering why I can't move around the table too well, you can see down the edges. Well, around that side I've got a bit of space, but the other side's a bit tricky. There's not too much. So yeah, so if you're wondering why I'm stuck either one side or the other, that's the reason. Try and free up some more space. But anyway, Germans are going in, Russians are defending, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the Germans can do better than the last match. Okay guys, so the preliminary bombardment has rolled in. It's hit the Russian force, which is based around the Barbarossa theatre selector for bolt action. So there's lots of sort of militia and peasants in this army. Basically the medium machine gun squad you can see on the left is fine, it hasn't taken any pins. Then KVD squad in the forest right in front of us has taken 1 pin. The peasants in the building, the ruined building, have taken 2 pins and 1 casualty. Armoured car has taken 2 pins. The officer in the bottom of this building has taken no pins. Unit inside of the building has taken 2 pins. Other unit, the commissar and the other rifle squad in that building have taken 1 pin each. And the HMG on the far side has taken no pins. So the scenario is in development, just like the previous one. So the Germans have got to come across from their side of the table over there, and they've got to get as many units as they can into the enemy deployment before the end of the game. So the Russians have deployed their defenders, or the initial wave of defenders. There are some units that are left in reserve for them as well. Some of the heavier vehicles that were guarding the town previously seem to have been assigned to another sector, so they're not making an appearance in this particular battle. Alrighty guys, that's the end of the preliminary bombardment. Takes us into turn 1. Alright guys, so the Germans have rolled onto the table. You can see they've brought up, used a Marder, but it's actually a medium AT gun. So it's rolled up into the centre, trying to sort of cover the board. Brought up some German regulars, so 2 squads of 10. There and there. Brought up a truck, which is full of veterans with Panzerfaust and SMGs. Got a Hanomag, an armoured transport with pioneers. I've got a flamethrower, some SMGs and some rifles. And I've got a T-38T, which is a light German tank. It's actually a Czech manufactured tank, so that's leading the attack. The Russians have rallied and they've brought on more troops, so you can see the AT gun and the tank they've moved onto the table. Tank's taken a shot at the German T-38T, but it's missed. Heavy machine gun also opened up the T-38T, caused a pin. NKVD have come on. The squads in the centre have rallied. And you can see over there between the 2 buildings, the Russian officer has moved up to rally the squads in there and the truck. So all the pins are gone from all of those units. The NKVD in the far forest have also rallied, and the medium machine gun is still in place. So that's the end of turn 1. We're now rolling into turn 2. You can just see the battlefield. Alrighty, so we'll see if the Germans can move into the town and take advantage of the stunned Russians after the preliminary bombardment. Alright, see you in the next turn. Okay, so it's the end of turn 2. So the Russians are... actually, I should start with the Germans. The Germans have pushed forward from their starting point, so they're wrapping around the Russian right flank. You can see the tank, Hanomag and truck have gotten a fair way forward towards the Russian position. The Russians have fired a bit at the oncoming German vehicles. They've put some pins on the T-38T, but fortunately it's not blown up. So yeah, so that's good. The infantry following up behind, 2 squads of 10. One of them has been shot. He took a round from the tank. Russians are sort of responding to the outflanking move by pushing into the center of the map. So it's quite the horde. Lots of Russian troops everywhere. You can see the squad just in front of the 2-story house have dropped an airstrike on it. So hopefully that won't strike me next turn. It will actually strike them, if assuming the plane turns up. So yeah, so that's also on the board now. And yeah, that's the end of turn 2. So just have to see how we go. And also the squad in the center has taken a shot from the Marder/AT gun. So they've lost a soldier. And that's end of turn 2. Alright, thanks. Alright, that was a bit of an eventful turn. So the Germans have very luckily been able to get across to the side of the field. Though they've still got a bit of fighting to do. They've tried to blow up the tank with some Panzerfaust. The guys in the truck are veterans with SMGs and Panzerfaust, but the Panzerfaust all missed, which was annoying. So yeah, so the tank's still on the field. The Russians have rushed some more militia into the square to try and hold back the outflanking Germans. More shots are fired at the AT gun. My airstrike buzzed in this turn and has put some pins on the unit you see that's rushed forward, and it got 1 kill on the unit. Russians still advancing towards the German outflanking movement, but there's only so much they can do at this point, I think. They're sort of in the open. It's been very, very close. I've been very lucky with a lot of rolls. The Russians have drawn a lot of their dice at the start of this turn, so they got a lot of shots at me, which fortunately didn't blow anything up. They mobilized the Hanomag. They've put another pin on the T-38T, which is not a good thing for that vehicle. They've also dropped an artillery strike, so that'll be coming in next turn. So I've got to get away from that. And yeah, and they've pinned that unit in the open. Just shots fired over there. So LMG is trying to take out the AT gun. The air observer's running for his life towards the German side of the board. And yeah, but that was the turn. So yeah, but very lucky with dice rolls. Lots of unfortunate misses for the Russian team. And if there'd been a couple of different dice rolls, I don't think the Germans would have been able to get across in the strength. And even then, I'm not entirely sure if I'll win just based on the points, because they might be able to pick off a fair few of my units still. But yeah, so that was that turn. All right, see you next turn. All right, it's the end of turn 3. As you can see, lots of carnage on the battlefield. Germans have pushed forward. Bit of a fight in the corner. They destroyed the AT gun, suffered some casualties from the tank. I've run one of my veteran units off the field after they destroyed the AT gun. I also ran a truck off the field, so I've gotten the points for that. Destroyed the unit of militia that charged at me. I've also destroyed a unit destroyed the commissar, which was hiding in that house. So I still have a unit in there. Let's see what else has happened. Lots of pins. An artillery strike came in, put pins on the unit there, put pins on the Hanomag, put pins on the tank, put pins on that unit, put pins on my officer. I've charged the officer into the MG because he was going to get killed otherwise, so I thought might as well try and do some damage. So I got 1 wound on the MMG, but they killed me. That armoured car and that squad finished off the squad that was in the open. Those squads over there have blown up the AT gun. Air Observer is hiding behind the barn, so I've got to try and keep him alive for 3 turns. I don't think I will. And yeah, the Russians are pushing out of the town, trying to contain the German flanking move. Not 100% sure who's going to win, although I think it slightly favours the Russians at the moment. So we'll see. It's been quite tough attacking this town. Probably the reason why you can see all the previous German wreckage. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, and that was the end of turn 3. Okay, so we're now in turn 4. It's been a little bit more action. Unit at the very bottom has tried to move forward, the infantry unit, but it's failed its pinning test. Tank has tried to move, but also failed its pin. The Hanomag's been destroyed by the light machine gun in the wrecked house. Oh, a heavy machine gun in the wrecked house, sorry. This unit's sort of moved up, tried shooting at that squad, has missed. Armoured cars chasing the air observer, and has missed him. And yeah, just a bit of a general fight. My squad that's in that house tried to kill off the enemy officer. Killed his guard, but not the officer, sadly. And then the other squad, the LMG squad there, has gone into the open, taken a few shots at the house, but they have missed. So that is the end of the turn. So that's turn 4. Also guys, if you're wondering how I'm playing this, it's actually a correspondence match. So that's my opponent. Alright, okay, so it takes us through to turn 5. Okay, so a bit of a wrap up of what's happened. We've hit a draw again. So the Germans are on 13 points and the Russians are on 12. So on the last turn, well, the last couple of turns, I've flamed the lieutenant, and then I've run with that squad off the field, so it's another 3 points. His tank rammed my tank and blew it up. He blew up the Hanomag, killed off the lone soldier. My air observer fled into the barn, so he didn't get the points there. Ignore that tank, by the way, it's dead. He couldn't run any troops in to assault it. And yeah, so that was more or less it. Tried firing more shots at the Pioneers, but Pioneers managed to get off the table. Artillery observer went into the house. So Germans have outflanked the position, but still not enough to actually take it. So this means it's a Russian victory for day 1, which is, I have to say, a bit frustrating. But no, I don't know, c'est la guerre. So yeah, so that's day 1. Town of Kalvarija is still in Russian hands. Germans are going to rethink their offensive a bit, and they're going to attack at a different point of the line. And that was turn 6, so it's been a long game. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. Again, please comment, subscribe, view of course. Again, any comments about paint schemes, please let us know. And we are still working on the houses. We will have them painted up at some point. But as I said, tricky to balance with work and things like that. And yeah, and GG to my opponents. The Eye of Sauron that you see there, the camera tripod. So it's Alex and Mitch, my opponents. Alrighty, until next game.